it's time for Movie Friends with your hosts Michelle and Seth. We're talking film without pretension. We're finding cats that are unexpected. We'll watch a movie, film, or schmovie, and we want you to join our journey. So subscribe and share this podcast, or this might just be the last of the Movie Friends. We're movie friends. We want to be your movie friends.
Hey, welcome to Movie Friends. I'm here with my friend Michelle Rubenstein, who is always breaking down walls with her face.
Hey, and I'm here with my friend Seth Vargas, who will be ordering a round of fuzzy navels for all of our listeners.
Is a fuzzy navel a real drink?
It is. It's peach schnapps and OJ.
Ugh.
Gross, man.
So, okay, orange juice. So it's probably a navel orange. Because that's a type of orange.
Makes sense. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's Navel orange, or maybe it's, I don't know what it is, but
Yeah.
Because I just thought of a hairy belly button.
Well, sure, and I think it can lead to that, but the drink itself sounds disgusting. I hate sweet alcoholic beverages, so.
Oh, that's the only kind I can drink. I am not a.
That destroys your stomach. Ugh.
Yeah, maybe. My favorite drink is a mudslide.
Krista loves mudslides too.
Because it's like ice cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever had one.
It's fun. It's like a milkshake.
I kind of like the name Mudslide.
Yeah, exactly. It's great. It's great all around. Hey, so anyway, what's going on?
Not much. I would love to tell you. So for Christmas, my friend gifted me an advent calendar of tea, but she gave it to me on Christmas Eve. And she was like, I know it's, Christmas is tomorrow, but maybe you can use this in January. And I just have to say this is a missed opportunity, and I think everyone should have an advent calendar in January because this has been like the bright spot of the day. It's like a little surprise after the holidays are over. Yeah, I've just been excited to tell you about this.
Are you enjoying the tea?
Yeah, I am.
Is it hit or miss?
No. Every
How
cup
different
is slapped.
can tea be?
Well, you have herbal tea, which is no caffeine. Why are we so down?
I hate tea
But you
so
like iced
much.
tea? No?
Iced tea, yeah, like a Snapple. I like a half-gallon sugar-free lemon or peach Snapple, yeah.
What's going on with you?
No, explain. So it's an herbal tea.
No, there's herbal tea, there's green tea, there's black tea, there's all types. There's chai tea, different blends and stuff. Also, wait, can I interject? I don't want this to become Michelle's Corner, but I would love your input, and this is a call to action for our listeners.
Yeah.
Okay. So Aunt and I are watching The Offer, which is kind of like the biopic series on the making of The Godfather, and we love it. And Aunt was like, oh, this is the type of TV show that I like to watch. So I'm wondering, does anybody have any other series that are kind of in the same theme that we could watch?
Interesting. Okay.
Do you have any? Like
a true life thing?
Yeah, kind of like
or like about showbiz thing?
Yeah, I think I love documentaries, but I think Aunt was getting at like he likes seeing behind the scenes of a real story about showbiz, but maybe dramatized for television.
All right. Yeah. Nothing comes to mind, but hopefully someone out there has an idea.
Yeah, please send us an email with that. Okay, Seth, you have the floor now. Sorry to eat up your time with that.
I don't have a lot going on this week. I got a Roy Scheider poster that's behind me of him from one of my favorite movies, All That Jazz. So I'm jazzed about that. And then I'm excited because we do a show on Patreon that we call And Happy as Happy, which is a show where we talk about Seventh Heaven. And we batch record these. So if you don't know what that means that every morning for like a week and a half, Michelle and I wake up at 7 a.m. before our day starts, and we record an hour on an episode of Seventh Heaven. And so we did, months ago, right? I mean, almost a year.
What month was that we binged that?
I don't know, but it's got to be close to a year since we recorded those episodes. And there's been one in particular that I've been waiting for. And it's finally coming out this week. And we're talking about the musical episode of Seventh Heaven. If you're not aware of what Seventh Heaven is, it's a show about a pastor and his big family. They got like 6 kids, 7. I don't know how many kids, but it aired weekly on WB11. Big draw, big show, terrible show.
Terrible. Terrible. And it gets worse. It got worse, I should say. It got worse
as the years go on.
Season.
And so in one of their final seasons, they did an all musical episode. And it is, without a doubt, the worst episode of television that I've ever seen.
Wow. Yeah, I might have to agree to that, but I feel like, I'll stand by that. I'll stand by that.
Yeah. And so basically, we're both just like screaming the whole episode. It's on. So anyway, so that's going out this week on Patreon. Very excited about that. Yeah. Also, we rolled out our decoder ring.
Michelle's Inner Circle. It has begun.
As another Patreon bonus. And I gotta say, the patrons are a buzz, I think.
They are. They're talking about it in the Discord channel. They're using the spoiler. They're using the spoiler tag, so they're not spoiling it for others. What? This is serious business.
It is serious business.
Seth, if people want to get in Michelle's Inner Circle, how can they do so?
It's super easy. Patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to everything. You get to be in Michelle's Inner Circle, where you get an encoded message at the end of every Movie Friends episode that you get to decode and play along as we're revealing this story. And Michelle and I have been talking about some. It's absurd, but it's going to be pretty great.
It's so fun. So you have to stay tuned to the very end of the episode, like past the credits. All the way.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. And if you listen to only the episodes of the movies that you've seen, which is definitely the way that you should do this show. Yeah. And you're like, oh, but I still want to hear the message. That's why we put it all the way at the end. So you don't have to hear us spoil, Shrek the Third.
If you care of such things.
But yeah, that's pretty much what's going on. And then we got an email. So this email subject line is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Such a good episode.
Says, Dear movie friends, Neil did not hail the cab in the beginning of the movie. The lawyer did. Neil saw the cab and offered money to the lawyer to take the cab himself. While the lawyer was increasing the amount he wanted Neil to give, Dell took the cab. It is very likely Dell had no idea what was transpiring between Neil and the lawyer. So, later at the airport, when Neil accuses Dell of stealing his cab, he's wrong. It wasn't his cab to begin with. Therefore, Neil deserves everything that happened to him after that moment at the cab. The only thing Dell did wrong was be friendly towards a person he saw for a split second through his open cab door earlier that day. Kind regards, Shawshank.
That shook me.
So were you able to follow? Yes. I had to read this.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And I was picturing the sequence in my head with what Shawshank was saying.
This is like a really dissected thought, but I agree 100%. Neil is so mad that Dell took his cab, and that's like the basis of him like hating him. But it wasn't his cab.
But it was he wanted it to be. Like that was what he was working towards. And so he felt it was his.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Yep. Like he says, Dell probably just saw a cab with an open door. I was like, hey, I'll get in this.
Yeah, and the cab driver was probably like, I don't care who gets in, just someone get in. Thank you, Shawshank. It's good to hear from you.
Yeah, I was excited. I was excited to share that with you. I didn't know it would shake you so much.
It really did. It really did.
Hey, if you want to be like Sean Shank, send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Give us some suggestions for Michelle and Anthony to watch a TV show, and let us know what you thought about planes, trains, and automobiles. All right. You ready to talk about this?
Are you ready to talk about this?
I am so unbelievably ready to talk about Shrek the Third.
I said to Seth off mic that I was just going to be quiet and let Seth step upon his soapbox and let you go because you have so much to say and you get really passionate talking about Shrek.
No, I want to hear what you have to say. I've got a lot of questions for you.
Mm-hmm.
But I sent Michelle a GIF earlier. I said, "This is me right now," and then it was a GIF of Rocky doing one-armed push-ups. As I was preparing for this episode, I was like, "Oh, like let me add him." So we're talking about Shrek the Third from 2007, directed by Chris Miller, written by Peter S. Seaman, Jeffrey Price, Aaron Warner, and Chris Miller. Art direction by Peter Zaslav, composed by Harry Gregson Williams, edited by Joyce Arastia and Michael Andrews. Starring Mike Myers, Cameron Diaz, Eddie Murphy, Antonio Banderas, Rupert Everett, and Justin Timberlake. Michelle, you want to read the summary?
Sure. The king is dead. Shrek and Fiona are next in line to rule far, far away, but Shrek does not believe he is king material. Shrek sets out to find the only other heir, Arthur, while Fiona and a group of princesses deal with Prince Charming trying to steal the throne. To complicate things further, Fiona is pregnant. Will they save the kingdom? Who will sit on the throne in the end? Arthur, Prince Charming, or Shrek the Third?
Oh boy. So before we get into our discussion, we guess what each other are going to rate the movie. And we've got a pickle tally. So far this year, none of us have won any pickles. It's a dead heat at 0-0. So I'm grabbing my Yikes book, my notebook here.
Yep, I'm grabbing my little black book.
And we have not talked about Shrek the Third ahead of time.
We haven't talked about any of it, which is weird. Like no gifts, no texts. I did that on purpose, actually. Also, I just didn't want to bug you. Okay.
All right. If I don't win a pickle from this, I'll be shocked. I feel like I got it on this one. I'm confident.
I think I'm actually overshooting.
Oh, okay.
But either way.
All right.
I'm locked in.
I'm locked in as well. If you're listening to this show for the first time, I'm not really an angry person, and I don't really like talking about movies that I dislike, because what's the point, you know? Why? Who cares? Sometimes we'll stumble on one, and it's like, ooh, this did not work for me this time. But I can always find good stuff to talk about. And then there's the Shrek series, and this has just been an ongoing thing that has consumed our lives, right?
Yeah, I just want to say you started it. Because early in Movie Friends, yeah. you picked out what we covered. Like I really didn't have, I had a say, but not really.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean that in like Seth didn't let me speak. That's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It was like Seth came up with what we were going to cover. And the first Shrek was part of the movies. It was Buddy Month, I think.
I believe it was Buddy Month.
It was Buddy Month.
Shrek. Yep.
And we got to record that in my studio together, and we joked about you getting a Shrek tattoo. That was the thing. If if we got 50 patrons, Seth would get a Shrek face tattoo.
Yep.
So really, this is you.
Still working towards that, by the way. And still good. I'll still do it.
Come on, guys. I want this so bad.
Michelle wants it so bad. Yeah.
So bad.
Yeah. Primo real estate, too. Anywhere. I don't care. I'll put it wherever.
Yep.
Maybe not my face.
Yeah, I was just going to say not the face.
You know, my whole neck is open.
As much as I want that, I don't want that on your face.
Yeah. No.
No. But anyway, the Shrek verse is very much associated with the Movie Friends verse.
Which is horrible. Like,
well, Seth, then we decided to do Shrek 2 as our first live show. Like,
I know.
We did this to ourselves.
I know. Yeah. It's like I would rather be associated with so many other things but this. But you know what? Sometimes you can't choose, you know?
Yeah, right.
Sometimes you've got your dance partner and you got to do the waltz, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
You are much more inclined to the Shrek world than myself, as is, by the way, most of humanity. Like I'm often alone.
Yeah, you're quite bitter. You're the only person I know that's very bitter towards
Mm-hmm,
Shrekverse.
mm-hmm. Yep. So, had you seen this before?
Not only have I seen it, I owned it
Oh, okay.
on DVD.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have not seen this one in a really long time. And when I used to think of, or when I thought of Shrek the Third, I just thought about the babies
Right.
because I thought they were just the cutest things ever.
Oh my god!
Come on, they're animated creatures, Seth. They are cute, so cute.
I will say, I didn't know that Shrek could be more disgusting until it was in baby form.
Anyway, I completely forgot about the whole Arthur storyline.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
So,
Incredibly forgettable.
yeah, I mean, depending on who you ask, but even though I owned it, it wasn't one that I was like watching all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So rewatching it after all this time, how did you feel about it?
There are things I really like.
Mm-hmm.
There are things I am going to want to discuss that probably don't need to be discussed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Well, like let it go kind of thing. Like you don't need to talk about all of this. We don't need to dive into.
As a bitter Shrek hater, I can't let it go. So I
Right,
would
right.
love to.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think I did not realize the star-studded cast.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody is in this,
Mm-hmm.
which is like really cool.
Regis Philbin.
Yeah, I mean, Maya Rudolph, Amy Sedaris is great. It's
Yeah.
great. It's just it's great. But then it left me, and I was like, what is missing here? I don't know. It felt different than the other two.
Yeah.
So, yeah. What about you? You fired up? What's your history with Shrek the Third?
I watched Shrek the Third for the first time recently. You know, as a kid, if you don't know my story with Shrek, I liked Shrek when it came out. I even liked Shrek 2 when it came out. I grew to hate this movie series. I think when Shrek 3 came out, I was probably older, so I just didn't bother. Oh, it was 2007. Oh, yeah, 2007. Yeah, I definitely wasn't going to
We're
see
early
Shrek.
20s. We're still young. Okay, well, I'm sorry. This is
Shrek
your
is
story.
for three-year-olds.
No, it's not. The humor in this one, definitely not.
So I watched it probably because my kids wanted to watch the Shrek movies, you know, and so I watched this one. I watched the fourth one. I may have watched Shrek the Halls. I cannot verify that or not, but yeah. And I hated it. I hated it when I first saw it, and I hated it the other night when I rewatched it. Like none of this works for me. Now, if you listen to our Shrek 2 episode, I do admit, like, it's such a better movie. And the first Shrek was so embroiled in like production problems, the whole Chris Farley thing, Mike Myers thing, DreamWorks thing. Like it was disjointed, and you can point at why. And then in Shrek 2, it's like, okay, now we have these established characters. We can tell one story because, you know, we're starting and there's a premiere date. It's not going to take, 10 years of messing around to get Shrek made. 2 is much better than 1. And 2, I even went as far when we talked about 2 as to say that the final sequence of I Need a Hero, if it was just that, it would be like a 5-star movie. Like that rules that part, right? This has none of that. It has none of that. And like you were talking about the humor, I actually feel like the kind of like naughty, inappropriate humor of Shrek 1 and 2 a little bit is like really downplayed. And this is like now just a movie for babies. I don't think there's a lot to grasp onto for adults beyond like, the faint wisps of, isn't parenthood scary?
I mean, I
But
feel
not
like it's laced
really.
with that. It's laced
Oh
with like,
my.
how is a baby made? How
Is it?
yeah, all of it's fatherhood and the fear of becoming that can lean into the adult audience.
But it's not enough because we have to.
Yeah, I'm not defending it. I'm just saying
Yeah.
I don't think this is just made for babies.
Yeah. So I did remember the Arthur storyline. I didn't remember all of the stuff with like Fiona and the princesses and like sneaking through the dungeons of the castle and all that. I hated that. None of that was funny. Now, what I will say before people shut us off is what this movie does have is it does have some really funny quick gags or like cutaways. The one that everyone remembers is, someone better be dying. And then it cuts to the frog and he's like, I'm dying. And Shrek gets this look like, oh. That's a really, really funny gag. I'll give it that. There were a few others throughout that it's like, okay, these characters can be funny, but it's just such an uninteresting story.
Right. I mean, it's just Prince Charming is seeking revenge, and Shrek and Fiona are becoming parents. They've been married for 8 months.
Oh, is that all?
That's what I've read. That's
the
according
timeline. That's the
to
official.
the internet.
Is that the Shrekipedia? According to the.
That's what I was reading. Mm-hmm. So on the interwebs, because I was like, how much time has passed? And they've been married for 8 months, according to the internet.
Not a thought that I had
on some Reddit
ever.
threads. Oh, really? Yeah. That was like one of the first things I thought. I was like, okay, how long have we been married? How long have we been in Far, Far Away? How long has Harold been sick?
You're still coming off of Godfather 3.
I am.
And trying to piece together the whole Corleone family tree timeline. And so you're applying that to Shrek the Third.
And because I'm watching The Offer, I am in Godfather verse. So everything in my mind is like, yes, this one's linked to here.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah. That's really funny, Seth. That's exactly what's happening.
What a downgrade. Have we ever done a worse step down?
I mean, I was laughing to myself because I was like, wow, last week, well, we were covering The Godfather 3, Coda. Mm-hmm. It's still better than Shrek the Third.
Oh, 1,000,000%. Oh my God, yeah.
I mean, I have a feeling what our favorite third will be this month.
Interesting. Yeah, it's possible.
Possible. Yeah. We'll see. We'll see. Where are we going? Where are we starting with this? Because I have so much I want you to lead me.
I want to go line by line. Like
I want
I wish that I just had like screen grabs of every moment of this terrible, terrible movie to talk about. My first question is, why is Prince Charming an actor now?
He's trying out dinner theater.
Why?
I think Prince Charming is lost, and he's bitter, and he's using his good looks and his voluminous hair, and using the only thing he has, which is his charm. And he's really sad that his mother passed away, was killed. And so the thing is that I would like to know, where do you live, Charming? And I'm serious. I was like, where is he going home at night? And why are we in productions? We probably don't have control of this, but can't we go to another kingdom and be in those productions that maybe don't involve Shrek?
Right.
And killing an ogre?
Well, it's kind of like, you've got Prince Charming in your cast. You gotta do.
That's true. You were like born to play the role.
Right. It's like the actors who are typecast,
So that's probably how he's feeling. He's super, super frustrated. Do you think he has... Okay, wait. And so he truly feels he is owed...
I'm so mad. Well,
we're going to talk it through.
I'm so mad. Just sitting in this chair. I'm just so mad. I just want the listeners to know, like, that right now, just imagine me angry. But yes, I'm sorry. Continue. I held that in for as long as I could.
I appreciate it. But he truly feels that he is owed the throne.
Correct.
Because his mom made a deal and the deal fell through.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's like, I have nothing else to live for. I'm getting the throne. And that's like the base of our story.
Yeah. The only connection to like why he's an actor now that I can possibly think of is that his mom was like theatrical and like a performer type.
Yeah.
And she's very much like in number 2, that like kind of Hollywood agent type of thing, you know, like, oh, I'm going to make you something and, you know, whatever. That's all I can gather. But it just feels like such an odd pivot to like, hey, remember that guy from the last movie? Well, you never knew this, but he's an actor. And I don't think that he was an actor in this, but it's just like, why is this the way that they go with it? And it has no bearing on the story because he enlists the help of all of the villains without relying on this acting thing.
Right. Well, he kind of can sweet talk them into.
But that's a skill that he had prior.
It's true. But here's the thing, though, right? On that note, what I didn't understand is like, do we hate dinner theater or do we just hate the content that we're given? Because fast forward, he's performing dinner theater.
I know.
So he likes to be the star of the show as long as he can control the narrative, which, hey, guess what? I think a lot of us feel that way.
Absolutely.
Relatable.
Yeah. But like, okay, you want to be the king. Shrek leaves, you lead this takeover. Okay, fine, whatever. The first thing you're doing is putting on a play?
Yeah, it's a little misguided.
It's just like motivations don't work that way. Motivations don't work. Marty McFly, when we meet him, what is he doing? He's at Doc's place plugging in the guitar, right? So throughout the series, you can refer to that and you can say, hey, Marty's a typical American kid. He likes skateboarding. He likes music, right? So those are the things in the sequels that you can draw on. It'd be so weird if in the second movie, Marty was like, also, I've never mentioned this before, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So why is it that he gets what he wanted, what we knew that he wanted in the first movie, Prince Charming, is the throne, right? He gets it in this one. Why is he going back to this acting thing? It makes no sense.
I think this is a form of therapy for him, and that he has to act out and kill the ogre since he hasn't been able to do that.
I'm not I'm not open to that idea. But better writing would tell us that or show us that in some way. Because all this is showing me is that he's obsessed with putting on plays suddenly.
Yeah, and having control and being shown. This is like his way of showing the people that he's a hero. Because everybody hates him, even the villains, until he has to convince them.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is the way to show the audience and the townspeople, like, hey, I'm actually the hero here. But in his mind, this makes sense. This is not logic. It's Prince Charming.
But it's like he's the king now. He doesn't need to do any of that.
He still wants to be loved. He's stupid.
Yeah, and what we do see from him is that he hates being laughed at.
Right.
So he hates being laughed at. And so that is part of what you're saying is happening, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to laugh at me anymore. But they're not. You're like literally creating a stage in which you can fail and have people laugh at you. I don't know. Yeah. You're right. Like there is an idea of I sunk really low. I was mocked and made fun of and people just wanted Shrek. And now I have all the power, so I'm going to redeem myself on a stage of my own making. Yes, like you're right, but it's still so stupid, and should be for a children's film explored and explained more.
Well, if they were going to do that, I think we have to cut some other things then.
Good, cut them.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Would you have liked the Prince Charming revenge story if we gave him more background into and just reframed it? Or do you think Shrek the Third should not have involved Prince Charming?
Would you like to hear my Shrek 3 rewrite?
Always. You know I do.
Prince Charming lurking and scheming, okay. Like, I would be okay if there was some kind of plot, like if there was some intrigue and political things happening, and Prince Charming was kind of like behind it, and then he's revealed to be like the mastermind or whatever. I think you want to have Shrek grow up in this movie, right? So you introduce the pregnancy and taking on of responsibility. Okay. So Shrek becomes king and he knows that there's an heir. And then there has to be a problem that rises up that Shrek is not able to take care of. And so that causes him to go find Arthur because Arthur has some skills or something that Shrek doesn't possess. So you can still do the whole like the castle is kind of being sieged or different things are moving where there's like there's a overthrow coming more like Game of Thrones or like the movie 300. I don't know if you know.
I do.
Yeah. 300, where King Leonidas is off like fighting this war. Meanwhile, his wife is dealing with the politics of like the people in charge back home. That would require some like better writing and like I don't know.
Like if we took the acting out and maybe like what you said, Prince Charming he's down and out. He's living amongst the townspeople and then finds out that Shrek is up for throne and is like, we're not going to have an ogre in the castle.
Yeah,
like,
sure.
No. Do you remember? And then starts his own little army and then we revolt.
Sure.
That could have worked without the acting.
Without
dinner
the acting.
theater, but then that adds in, I think that's entertaining for children. Because it is a kid's movie.
It is entertaining for children. Yeah. Yeah. But I like that. Like you start to see posters up.
Yeah.
You start to see them making effigies of Shrek and burning them in the streets. And you start to see, and maybe there's, maybe he's losing allies throughout the kingdom slowly or, I don't know. That all sounds so much better. And more focused. Like this movie is just so unfocused. And it reminded me of the Despicable Me movies, which I've also seen all of, and the Minion movies because I have kids.
I've only been on the ride.
Well, of course, yes. But like when we get to Despicable Me 3 and 4, it really just becomes a series of scenes that exist and are like really loosely tied together with like a really thin thread. And in this, it's like, why is Arthur even a thing? And why is Shrek even? Why not just have the king say, Shrek, I love you. You're my son. But there is someone who is first in line and it's this other guy. And so you have to kind of rule until we get a hold of him. Like, everything, just nothing that happens means anything.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that when they're in a prison cell, Fiona's mom just breaks through a wall with her face. How
badass was that, though?
I agree with the bad part.
Go Lillian. I was like, yes, queen.
It's cool, but it doesn't mean anything because if it could have happened that way, why were they in the cell to begin with?
Yeah, why did she wait so long?
That's like if you made a movie and said, oh, and then in this scene they put Superman in a prison cell and he's going to hang out here for 15 minutes and then just punch through the wall. That's not how conflict works. Like you have to rise over conflict somehow.
Well, I guess she was boiled to that point where she could do it. It's not like she's doing this all the time. It's like, get women mad enough.
Yeah, but was there enough there that would lead us to that conclusion? Like, did we actually see her getting revved up, or did she literally just turn and say, okay, and punch her face?
Yeah, I think internally that's how, because all of these women are very different personalities. And I think that's
Mm-hmm.
just like Lillian she's just more reserved.
Mm-hmm. I wouldn't mind like the princesses and all. It just, I don't know. I didn't think they were.
Can we break down the princesses? I'm dying to talk about them.
Please go for it.
Okay. How did you feel about the personalities given to these princesses, and where are their princes?
I feel like Snow White was the only one who was fully written, and they
Right?
had drafts on everyone else and then never finished them.
So, according to animatedviews.com,
Okay.
okay, they say this is from production.
Mm-hmm.
Early in production, the filmmakers considered making Cinderella a complete slob due to her perpetually having to clean up during adolescence and Sleeping Beauty
Okay.
completely caffeinated and constantly awake. You can
Okay.
guess why. Eventually, they decided to go different directions, with Cinderella obsessed with cleaning and Sleeping Beauty with a slight case of narcolepsy.
I didn't gather an obsession with cleaning from Cinderella at all. I didn't gather almost the narco. Like it's so, I'm glad that we started this episode talking about tea, because there's just like faint wisps of ideas in this. There's nothing strong in any of these ideas, any of them, even Arthur.
Yeah, I know.
Is Arthur a loser, or is he like the greatest speech maker of all time?
Well, he has no confidence, and he's a kid. But wait, just to stay on the princesses, I don't know why this bothered me so much of how they were portrayed,
Mm-hmm.
and their princes wouldn't come. Like, wouldn't alarms be going off that Far, Far Away was infiltrated? Where are the other kingdoms? But then they all live in Far, Far Away, because in the last movie we see like, oh, that's Cinderella's house, like they in the Hollywood tour or whatever, they do the Far, Far Away tour. Also, Cinderella ends up with Prince Charming, and then Sleeping Beauty Aurora ends up with Prince Philip.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. I don't. And then Rapunzel ends up with Flynn, but then Rapunzel ends up as a traitor in this one.
Yeah.
It just.
Well, we're playing it fast and loose with if we're doing full on Disney mockery at this point. And that's again, like, if you go to Shrek 1, it's all, DreamWorks literally was like, we're making an anti-Disney movie. And that movie had bite, and it had fangs, and it had purpose, because it had clear direction of like, this is what we're doing. In this one, it's just kind of like, you know who these people are, right?
They're just giving advice during the baby shower.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
that would be my
don't
only
come. I don't know.
That would be my answer to your question. Where are the princes? They didn't come because they didn't come to the baby shower. And it's when they're at the baby shower. Isn't it when they're at the baby shower that they...
Yeah, because Rapunzel like orchestrated all of this. She was a traitor.
Well, that too...
I think she probably told Prince Charming, oh, I'm going to Fiona's baby shower. Yeah. So now is a good time. I can't believe we're talking about this in this matter right now. The fact that I just said those words, like, oh, Rapunzel, I know. Probably told Charming, like, show up at 3 p.m.
I didn't like that twist.
You didn't like the twist of Rapunzel being a traitor?
No, because what did it mean?
Oh, it means nothing. It just shows...
They didn't come to her in their time of need, and she said, oh, I'll show you the way through the castle. It's just like, oh, and one of you has been bad the whole time. But she didn't do any... I mean...
Would it have been better if I don't know, is it better to reveal in a twist to us, or if we saw a sidebar conversation of Charming and Rapunzel working together and we see the plan?
Well, that's Hitchcock and the bomb, right? Hitchcock says if you film a scene of two people talking, and then at the end of it a bomb goes off, versus if you show the audience the bomb and then you have... So that's two ways of doing it. And in this one, it just meant so much nothing. Where if throughout all of Shrek the Third, Fiona and Rapunzel are best friends.
Right.
And Fiona and Rapunzel's giving her advice, or she's giving her directions, telling her specific things. And then those specific things turn out to be not in favor of Fiona, but in favor of this plan that she was finding herself falling into. That's a twist. just finding out that one of the people in your group, it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything.
Also, what bothered me is Shrek gets Arthur, convinces him to come. Yeah. We'll get into Arthur, right? But just for this instance of why I'm bringing this up. And him and Donkey and Puss are telling him, like, oh, you're going to have people, you're going to have bodyguards and people try your food for you and people protecting you, right? Where are those people when Charming takes over?
That's a good point.
How is it just Gingy, Wolf, and Pinocchio?
Right.
And the pigs?
Right.
How are they the only ones that are the army? Where's the army? I don't know.
Right. And that's why you do the story of Prince Charming is trying to pull a coup with his charms and not with force.
Right.
He gets the army to turn on Shrek. He gets the people to turn a blind eye. Yeah.
Okay. So when Prince Charming goes to round up the villains, I liked that scene. My question for you, okay, and I might be jumping ahead, so if you want to go back to the villains, please feel free. We gather the villains, and when we infiltrate, we are flying on brooms. How, you're saying every villain knows how to fly on a broom? That doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Am I missing something here?
No.
This is what I say. I have to let things go because I'm like, not every villain flies on a broom.
No, I think it's stupid. Yeah. Yeah. You'd have
your face.
You'd have your broom battalion coming from the east. You'd have your trees coming from the west. You know what I mean? Like, isn't one of them like flying on a tree or something?
Yes.
Like a tree is.
Is it just Alphaba essentially?
And I'll tell you what? You want your treachery from Rapunzel and your aerial attack. You have Rapunzel climb to the tallest tower and let them in with her hair.
Oh, that's so good.
You know what I'm saying?
That's so good.
So that people come in, the people fly in, and the people who can't fly climb up Rapunzel's hair.
You know what we should do, Seth?
We should rewrite Shrek the Third.
Let's rewrite Shrek the Third as a fanfic and perform it dinner theater at our next live show.
Sure. But you know what I mean? Like, that's a character. Yes, that's something about a character that we know.
Yep.
And that's something for her to do.
Yep. Yeah.
Oh my God, this movie sucks so much. I hate this. You said, do I want to go back to the princesses or the villain? Let's go back to the princesses. Again, Snow White, I feel like she's got the most lines. She's got the most character. She got the most powers for sure.
I mean, I love when she sings to the animals and commands them. Yeah. That's good.
But then, Cinderella in the gear up scene, she's like sharpening a glass shoe into a knife. It's like, okay. But there's just nothing for them. There's nothing for them to do. And I don't even know why it needed to be all princesses. Why isn't it, hey, Snow White is at the baby shower and Mama Bear is at the baby shower. And hey, a witch is at the baby shower. You know what I mean? Like it's not
you have
like
Doris
why are they
there?
Doris is there, and Doris is not a princess. So just open it up. Why isn't there like a mermaid there? Why isn't there?
Well,
like,
if Ariel was there, I'd be like, oh, and if she was a mermaid, like how does that wouldn't work for me.
She's sitting in a tub that has wheels on it.
That wouldn't surprise me if Shrek did that. That would be funny.
Yeah.
And then she'd be like bubbling.
I'm just saying, if we're doing like, oh, hey, these people are going to have powers, why not put in some characters that could actually do things?
I think it's to assume we didn't think they would have powers.
Well, I mean, it's just Mama Bear. You could even throw Goldilocks in there. What did Goldilocks do? Oh, she just ate food.
Maybe but what did all these princesses do?
Pulls out some like porridge that's too hot and throws it on the guards. Or she's got a porridge gun. I don't know. She puts him in a bed that's too big and says night night.
I mean, Goldilocks at a baby shower, she's a little young.
Well, she grew up. I don't know. Something. So anyway, pretty much hate all the stuff with the princesses. I hate all the stuff with them traveling through the underbelly of the castle. I don't think it means anything.
How does no one know? How does Lillian, I guess, has no idea how the underground of the castle works?
Yeah.
This is your castle, no?
Right. So on the villains, like, it's weird because Shrek 1 kind of goes out of its way to be like, hey, these aren't villains. They're magical creatures. They're fairy tale creatures. Farquaad kind of puts them as like second class citizens and villains. And then this one is like, oh no, actually, I mean, like when the Frog King goes to the bar in the second one, Captain Hook is there and there's like unsavory people, but I feel like this movie just jumps kind of like backwards almost.
Well, they are all fans of Shrek.
Mm-hmm.
And they hate Charming. They don't consider themselves villains.
Right.
Until they're called villains and then be like, you guys shouldn't be called villains. You deserve more for yourself.
Yeah. And like they just seem so easily swayed. Like they're swayed by Charming.
I mean, I have to say, when the Headless Horseman said he's always wanted to play the flute, I giggled hard. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah. There are funny parts to this. When Captain Hook is running through Far, Far Away and he sees a little boy and he's like, Peter Pan, whatever, count your days. Yeah. And the guy's like, I'm not Peter Pan. And he's just like, ah, it's like, okay, he's lost his mind out, that's funny.
When the Cyclops is taking off stamps and he's to mess with the mail and then he goes, ha, ha, ha. I thought that was great. That was great. It was great.
So they're so swayed by Prince Charming. And then they're just as easily swayed by Arthur at the end. And I feel like his speech wasn't even that good.
Honestly, I don't even really remember it.
We're just retreading things. We're retreading all of the stuff. I don't know. But it is for kids, and kids need to hear things 100 times. So
I haven't seen Shrek the Fourth or Shrek 4. Mm-hmm. Is Arthur in it?
Shrek Forever After.
Pardon me.
Yeah.
Is Arthur in it?
I don't remember. Rumpelstiltskin is in it, but it's a different Rumpelstiltskin than the one that's in this movie. Okay, that was a joke that I laughed at because it's so odd and unsettling when he's like, Rumpelstiltskin, what about that baby you were promised? And he looks down at a tattoo of a pacifier.
Yes.
I was like, oh, that's
dark.
That's psychologically creepy and freaky and weird, but that's a funny joke.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That was funny.
Anyway, yeah, Rumpelstiltskin is in that one. And
got it.
Shocker, Shrek is not happy with his life in that one.
Oh, surprise, surprise.
I know it's hard to imagine.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about Harold.
Sure.
Rest in peace.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of his whole death scene? Was it
funny.
Too much?
It's very no. It's very funny.
This worked for you.
Yeah, and I wrote in my notes something like, let's see here, the frog dying multiple times is funny and weird for a kids movie.
Well, that was my follow up. Is this too much for kids?
No, I think it's okay.
I like his funeral. I like that he's put in a Foot Locker box. Mm-hmm, I like the frog singing, "Live and Let Die." I like that.
Yeah, I hate that.
You win some, you lose some.
Yeah. And on that song, well, I don't want to get away from Harold.
Yeah.
But
I mean, there's not much.
If you had more.
No, that's it. I was just curious how you felt on his death scene.
I hate the live and let die part because I feel like that's not really what the song is about. Like it just
I mean,
feels
the lyrics are weird, right? But I like the frog singing.
Yeah, it's just like, hey, what song has the word die in it, kind of. And so it feels a little misplaced. And that brings me to my other point. This soundtrack is terrible.
It's all over the place. It's odd.
It's not. I mean, how do you replicate the magic of, Smash Mouth with the opening of Shrek?
It's so true. It's like it's iconic.
And then in the second one, they open up with "Accidentally in Love," Counting Crows, which is a song that I really, really like, and heard, separate from this movie. But that movie has a great iconic moment with "I Need a Hero." And I would say, like, maybe I Need a Hero with Fairy Godmother isn't in the stratosphere of pop culture moments quite like All-Star with the opening of Shrek. But still, really
It's
well.
good.
Yeah. This movie has none of that.
Doesn't need it, though. I mean, if your first and second do it, does your third have to do it?
Yes.
Not if the writing's better, we don't.
I mean, even, Reputation, Joan Jett.
Yeah.
Being used in the first one during the wrestling scene. Like, stuff just felt like it fit. It worked. Even as much as I hated to see those songs that I like put over, we talked about the drama of Hallelujah in the first Shrek, and me being like 5 was like, oh my God, this is the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. This is, I'm feeling so much. But this one, I hated it.
Yeah.
There's oh God, what is the name of the guy? Damien Rice. There's like a Damien Rice like slow song during a sad part in this. I was like, what are we doing here? Like, it felt like kind of scraping the bottom of the barrel soundtrack wise in this. I don't know. What did you think?
No, I agree. The music didn't do anything for me.
Yeah. Why do we have a high school diversion?
Okay. So,
yeah.
This was fun to see for me, and I'm imagining that whoever worked on this movie, I hope they just had fun, first and foremost. I hope everybody had fun.
Sure.
You used all your creativeness. It seems like a lot of the same people came back to work on the film together. So, like, a happy production team makes for hopefully happy experiences, right? And it wasn't necessary to explore the high school, but it was like fun to see how they would do it in my mind. I didn't mind this quest. I also appreciated that we took a boat as a form of transportation.
Sure.
Quest by sea.
I guess it's just kind of like pick one kind of a thing. Like, there's one of the reviews that I'm going to read later, I think brings a lot of this into some clarity. And I want to save that point for later on. But okay, Shrek, you gotta go get Arthur, but it's not the King Arthur that we know. It's Arthur as a kid, and so he's in high school. Shrek in high school, isn't that funny? Okay, but that's the movie.
Yeah, no, I agree.
It doesn't get to be 10 things.
Yeah, it's
and
too
this
much.
movie is 10 things.
Yeah, we're squeezing a lot in, a lot of ideas. They're not fully formed.
And so, like, the Rodney Dangerfield movie, Back to School, right? Hey, what if Rodney Dangerfield went to college? That's a funny idea that gets to breathe and live out and have jokes. This is like, hey, what if Shrek went to high school for 7 minutes? Hey, what if this was suddenly a story about Merlin and Arthur for 7 minutes? And what do you think about Merlin?
Oh, Merlin.
What was that? What is he?
Well, we like Eric Idle. So I appreciate that.
I love Eric Idle.
Right?
I mean, come on. What a voice, right?
Merlin is so kooky. And I did laugh with his timing when he starts playing What Friends Are For. I giggled at that. I don't know, Merlin, like, I feel like we could have done more with him. Or maybe just don't include him.
Merlin is the granola hippie.
Right.
But he's also lost his mind?
Yeah. He's a
coward?
He's gone a little. No, I think he lost his mind. He lost his mind. He's not a coward.
Why? That was like, I just kept writing down, why? Why is this the story you're telling?
Well, it's because Merlin and Arthur, right?
Yeah.
Paired together. So we have to, if we're going to include Arthur, then we should include Merlin, and then let's get Lancelot in there. It's just like throwing everybody.
Okay, so make it the Karate Kid, and it's Merlin and Arthur, and Merlin is training Arthur, or there's something.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much.
And like but then you have to include Shrek in it, and so then you have to include Donkey and Puss in Boots. They, everybody has to be there as things are happening around them, and like Donkey and Puss in Boots get switched. To what end and what purpose? It's never
just
fully
for laughs.
utilized.
It's just for laughs.
Right.
That's
but
it.
Like so in the final battle, you have to have, oh my God, I finally learned how to use that sword that you've been teaching me to use in your body over 3/4 of this. There's nothing here. It's, oh my God, anyway, okay.
How did you feel that we have Justin Timberlake who's voicing Arthur, yet JT's picture appeared in Shrek 2 over the bed of Princess Fiona?
Yep.
LOL.
I think it's stupid. This is stunt casting. Clearly, Justin is moving towards acting. He doesn't sink, and then he's a solo artist, very, very successful. This comes out in 2007. I think probably his biggest role is 2010, The Social Network, the David Fincher Facebook movie. So, he's getting his feet wet as an actor. Clearly, he didn't want to sing, in a movie where characters are singing all the time in the Shrek universe.
How though? And we have a theater production going on.
I know.
And so instead of you making your speech, you sing it because you're Justin Timberlake.
Right. And Shrek teaches you to overcome your
That's right.
nerdy loserness. This is how you can do it. Sometimes I don't even sing. That was my Shrek, by the way.
Very nice. Do you think Justin was like,
you know what me old grandpa told me to do when I was feeling scared? He'd tell me to sing out my feelings. Or Donkey teaches you that, because Donkey's singing all the time. Or or someone does something.
Do you think, though, Justin was like, I'm not singing in this?
I do. I think that
I hadn't looked that up.
It has to be. It has to be.
Why
There's
wouldn't
no
you
reason.
want to pair us? Yeah, that's nuts.
It's absolutely nuts. Where is Dragon this whole movie?
Well, she's around.
Because she comes in and saves the day again.
Yeah, I think she's just grounded. I think she just hangs out on the property.
In the second one, it makes sense, right? Because at the beginning of the movie, Donkey says, Dragon's been all moody, all this different stuff. I'm going to hang out with you guys. At the end, she comes back and you realize that she's had the drunkies, right? Okay, makes sense. Where is she?
She's with Fiona. What do you mean, where is she? She
pokes
her head in? Yeah, she pokes her head in during the baby shower. She's on the property.
Right, but when all the crap is happening, when everything is, going south, why hasn't she just gone in and eaten Prince Charming 10 times over? Why hold off until the end? You have to show me Dragon getting chained up or something.
Yeah, we have that one moment where she gets chained, but that's show us she's taking a nap or she's eating an apple or something.
She's eating an apple.
I don't know, an apple, like ice cream cone,
yeah, she's distracted.
She's distracted.
Yeah.
She's got
her
babies.
Hey, Charming has all of these villains. They've put a sleeping spell on her or something,
Yeah.
And Donkey has to sneak in as Puss in Boots because now he's in a smaller body. He's the only one that can get in there, but he has to convince Dragon that he's Donkey in Puss in Boots' body. Dragon realizes that she'll love Donkey no matter what. Maybe since this movie's about middle age, at the beginning of the movie, Donkey is feeling insecure because he's getting a little pudgy. You know what I'm saying? Something.
Yes, I do.
Something.
I do. This is coming. We're rewriting it. Here we go. And it stinks, right? Because we do have these characters, and really, if we utilize them differently, this would have been so much better.
You know what I have as a note here?
What?
Shrek is stabbed! ! Probably not. And that's kind of this whole movie. Also, Shrek is in chains. They don't even show him break out of them. He's in chains. When we cut back to him, he's just not in them anymore. And that is the teeth that they have given this movie. It's chains just magically aren't there anymore. The ogre doesn't even get to be an ogre in this movie.
Well, I don't know about that. He's constantly referring back to I'm an ogre and how people I'm afraid to have children because ogres eat their babies, and I'm trying to go against what is kind of my destiny, so to speak. And so we see his strength. Even in the beginning of the movie, he has to take over royal duties, right? And so he has to knight someone and he stabs them. We don't even know our own strength by now. This is still a problem.
That was funny though. I liked him knighting the guy and just stabbing him, and then like he takes his hand off the sword and it's just like stuck in his shoulder. Like that's a funny gag. But again, that needs to be the movie. Like Shrek wrestling with being the king has to last for more than 2 minutes.
Yeah, it's just a lot. Do you think you enjoyed seeing the fact that Gingy was married?
Gingy's side thing is funny. It's one of the weird, absurd little side jokes in this movie. And I think that's all this movie has are the little moments.
It was so weird.
It was so weird. And then he's just like sitting there like, on the good ship, lollipop. And they're like, what is happening here?
Wait, sorry, now I'm all over the place. To go back to Shrek's strength, right? And him being locked in the chains, and then we see him without it, right? So I think this is to tell the audience that Shrek can get out of anything, break out of anything. Ogre strength, right? When we arrive back at Far, Far Away and Pinocchio is locked behind the puppet theater, and you have to keep paying $5 for him to speak. Why didn't Shrek just break the glass?
Maybe he hates Pinocchio.
I don't think so.
Maybe this whole time he's been like, when is this little puppet guy gonna finally get his?
It's just like the strength, like just break the glass. You break everything else.
Yeah.
Anyway.
I agree. I think that there is this thread of acting kind of woven in, because at one point Arthur like acts sad, and that's what causes Merlin to like help them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe deep somewhere in this movie there are threads that we can pull out of like Prince Charming is acting, Shrek has to act, Arthur is acting. That I don't.
Yeah, when push comes to shove. I hear what you're saying. I mean, on that, we set this up that Arthur has the confidence to pull off this act against Merlin. Like, he's pretty much acting out a scene, right?
Yeah.
Fast forward, we're at the production, and Shrek and Arthur have words like, get out of here. I thought, and it's been a while, I was like, oh, here's another acting scene, and we're fooling everyone around us.
Right.
That's what they should have done.
Yeah.
They didn't do that.
Yeah. So I don't.
Why'd we do that?
I don't know. Like it's like I can see. You know how I love to pull out like this is what the movie's actually about, right? But it feels like it's like sand slipping through my fingers. I'm like, there's something here. They were trying to say something real. They had a point.
I think also.
What is it?
I think it was just to show that Shrek was scared to become a father. He's actually a better influence than he thinks he is, because he's there as a father figure towards Arthur.
Yes. I hated. So obviously this like storming the castle just does not compare to number 2. Like it's kind of embarrassingly pathetic comparatively. But at the end of everything, Arthur comes in and he just says, why do we need to settle things this way? Right? And gives this speech. You aren't what people say you are. It matters what you think you are. And I'm sitting next to my 11-year-old son who's watching this, and he says, yeah, unless you actually are a villain and a witch and an evil tree. And I was like, okay, yeah, that's a good point. But Shrek says, it's yours if you want it, but now it's your choice, to Arthur. But Arthur wanted it back when they were in the high school. He goes on this whole big speech about how he's going to go and be the king and how everyone who has wronged him is going to be sorry. You know what I mean?
I do.
They didn't have to rope him in the whole time.
Yeah, but they kind of told him, and then he used that to his advantage. He showboated it. I don't think it really settled within him. And then when he found out he was being used as a pawn, then it kind of switched in his mind. And then Shrek is like, actually, it's up to you for real this time.
Right. I'll be the king if you don't want to. I don't know, man.
You know what's great about that scene, though? That whole end montage? Yeah. 1, the trees are British.
Okay.
And 2, when the pigs make their entrance, they yell, sausage roll!
Oh, yeah.
It's great.
Yeah, that was funny.
That's how I've been entering the room.
Sausage
since I watched this movie.
Okay. All right. So,
I love it so much.
All of this stuff kind of happens. Arthur's going to take over. Okay, well, great. And then Merlin changes back Puss and Donkey, but their tails. Okay, fine. Shrek and Fiona finally get back to their swamp, and they have triplets. Get it? Triplets, because it's Shrek the Third.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we get a montage, and we end the movie with a montage. You can't. I'm sorry. I love experimental movie making. You can't do that. I hate this so much.
Even in an animated film.
Oh my God, I hate this. Name me a movie that ends with a montage. Anybody out there, please.
Yeah, no.
Send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com.
I don't know. This didn't bother me because at this point I'm just accepted what I've seen.
You can do end credits with a montage.
Which they had a fun end credit. It was a long 10 minutes of Shrek babies and Puss and Boots and whatever.
It sucks.
At this point, so like, whatever.
Earwax as a crayon.
I was waiting for you to bring that up. I knew you were going to bring that up.
Yes, because the Shrek ears are disgusting.
The snail juice or whatever, snail liquid in the
God.
bottles.
Oh,
we're seeing how two ogres are raising their triplets, and they're happy. They live in a swamp.
I'm not happy.
Well, you should be. I mean, I think we're done with the discussion. We're nearing the end.
My final note is this is such a dumb story, such a dumb ending, and such a letdown compared to the second one. Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Can you pronounce the name of the high school that Arthur goes to?
Worcestershire? Worcestershire?
Pretty good. People have a lot of trouble with that word.
It's a hard word, but is it Worcestershire?
I've always just said Worcestershire.
Worcestershire?
Yeah. I think you might be able to pull out Worcestershire. That's probably correct, but people have a hard time with this word.
Yeah.
Which is weird, because even if you just sounded it out, it would just be Worcestershire. But people are like,
well, because the S in there.
Mm-hmm. I think that I have more experience with this word because I worked in kitchens for so long.
So it comes natural.
And so it's always this big.
I think I wrote it out phonetically for myself.
Oh, good idea.
As I get through life. But yeah, the C. It's the C.
Yeah. But even if you pronounce the C, it would just be Worcestershire.
Worcestershire.
Yeah.
Worcestershire.
Yeah. Anyway.
So
this movie was made for $160 million, which I think should be used as evidence against why humans don't deserve to continue as a species.
Oh my God.
If the aliens come and there needs to be a defense for us, I will play the prosecutor role. I will get up in front of the aliens. I will show them Shrek 3 and I will say, we spent $160 million to produce this movie. We do not deserve to continue. I will have I won't feel bad at all.
Good luck, my friend.
Even worse, my follow-up argument will be that this movie made $813 million.
Wow.
This movie made almost $1 billion.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This has 41 on Rotten Tomatoes, only 52 audience score, and that did make me a little happy. 2.9 on Letterboxd, 50 at Metacritic. Probably not surprising. This is not in the Criterion Collection nor the National Film Registry. Roger Ebert gave this 2.5 out of 4.
Oh.
Which kind of stunned me.
Mm.
And I actually pulled one of the lines from his review. I would recommend go read the review. He is so upset that this is not as good as the other two Shrek movies. It's really funny. Like, it's very funny to imagine, like, old Roger Ebert sitting in a theater being like, oh man, this wasn't as good. He says, Shrek the Third is a damped down return to the kingdom of far, far away. lacking the comic energy of the first brilliant film and not measuring up to the second. From the thrills of dragon slaying and damsel rescuing, Shrek's challenges have been reduced to a career decision. Should he become the king? And again, it's pondered for like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Like oh man, just say something. Say something with your movie. All right, you want to talk about our happies and crappies?
Yeah, I do.
It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for happies and crappies. Happies and crappies. It's time for.
All right, so my happy is, as I said, there are legitimate funny gags in this. I think, and like throughout the movie, it's not like, oh, it's only in the first part or it's only at the end. I think throughout the movie, there are moments that make you laugh. My crappy is not surprising to anyone who listens to the show. Shrek. Shrek sucks. He sucks as a character. Is an ogre inherently this? I don't think so. It's how they write him. And here, it's the worst. It's the worst. He is almost like a passenger in his own movie. And I get it. The ensemble has grown. We need to do whatever. We need to sell toys. We need to have gingy moments. He's almost not important in this one. And it sucks. Because in the first one, Shrek, Fiona, Donkey, 3 characters, Farquaad, okay. They're all characters. They have something to do. They have something to say. And then you get these little side characters. Too much. 10 movies. It sucks. Shrek sucks. And yeah. What about you?
My happy is the pigs coming in on sausage roll.
Mm-hmm.
And my crappy is just, I feel like there's just too much going on. And while I think it's like super creative and fun to play with characters, these just were not fleshed out right.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the right word? Fleshed out? No.
Yeah, fleshed out.
Fleshed out? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, we didn't spend enough time on certain things and we spent too much time on some things. Could have reworked it, as you guys just heard.
Yeah. Hey, in less than an hour, you and I made this a much better movie.
Yeah.
So we asked some friends on Twitter what they thought. Sean Shank, who we heard from earlier, at Tyler_Burnham, says, why didn't they get Justin Timberlake to sing something? It seems like a lost opportunity, especially for a movie series that has featured music so prominently. And yes, we actually said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
Like Shrek is close to a musical, you know?
I mean, yeah.
Official webmaster John Butter at the John Butter.
John Butter!
You just love this guy's name.
I love John Butter.
I mean, I love the name too. Yeah. Says it's the Final Destination 4 of Shrek movies. And I unfortunately don't know what that means because I haven't seen all of them. But Final Destination is the next horror series that I'm going to finish.
Oh, nice. Are Final Destination movies just movies where you're traveling and then you die?
No. You don't know what they are?
No. You don't have to take time to explain this.
I can actually really real quick. A group of people are going to die in like a plane crash. But then someone gets a premonition that it's going to happen. And so they get off the plane. Some of the people get off with him. And then the plane goes down. Death is mad that they escaped him. And so Death kills them in like really, really complicated orchestrated ways that like they can't get out of.
So essentially you're destined to die either way.
Correct. Unless you can like, I don't remember because I've only seen like 1 or 2. But
there's
it's like
4 of these?
Oh, I think there's like 7. Yeah. Devon Sawa.
Oh, I do love him.
Yeah, he's in the first one. Anyway, maybe we'll do a Final Destination. Who knows?
You can.
Erica, Leaf, she/her at Oh Hi Erica.
Oh, hi, Erica.
In the tweet announcing what we were doing, I said we might finish our series. So she says, "What about Shrek Forever After?" And Michelle, what about it?
We will do it. Seth keeps saying and not really answering me and kind of being like, ha ha ha. Like, we are not done. And I said I'll go off and do these on my own, but you said you'll do them for Patreon. This will be a Patreon exclusive going forward, right?
I think so. I think so. Yeah.
If you don't want to do it, I'm going to do it.
No. I'll do anything.
I will Prince Charming this so quickly.
Oh my God. No, I think I'll do this. I think I'll continue doing it, but not on the main. We've never done a Spike Lee movie, but we've done 3 Shrek movies. Like, come on, this is insane. This is getting absurd.
We'll do a new release though, right? When it comes out.
Maybe, but maybe we'll do that for Patreon too. I don't know.
I'll just publish it.
Okay.
Don't worry, friends, it's coming.
R.I.P. Lydia Tarr at Calvin Benefield says, "Your soul will never know peace if you watch Shrek 1 and 2 with hate in your heart. Shrek 3, though, this is appropriate."
That's great. That's great.
So there's some people that we do know. Now we go to a segment of the show where we hear from people that we don't know. It's called Half Star, 3 Star, 5 Star. Half Star, 3 Star, 5 Star. All right, so these are reviews from letterboxd.com, which is an app and a website where you can log, rate, and review movies. We start with a half-star review, which is the lowest rating that you can give a movie. And we go all the way up to a 5-star review, which is the highest rating that you can give a movie. And for the half-star review, do you have a request for a voice?
I do. I want you to... I am requesting that you read it as the nanny dwarf that was gifted to Fiona.
Where's the baby?
That's right.
Okay,
you could do the voice. That's why I was like,
yeah.
Seth would be really good at this.
Okay, yeah. Where's the baby? That's also kind of
That was very funny.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I already did my Shrek impersonation earlier, which was terrible.
We don't need it again.
Yeah. Donkey.
All
right. Where's the baby? This movie sucks so bad. Is there a greater fall from one movie to the next in a series than Shrek 2 to Shrek 3? I am assuming it was impacted by the 2007 writers' strike. But wow, it misses the mark on everything that makes Shrek so great. Half star.
Yeah, okay.
And that was the point that I wanted to bring up was, is this movie affected by the writer's strike?
I mean,
which would make sense.
Sure, but
because everything from around that time that is like a half-made idea.
Yes.
And hey, this person was working on it, and here's all these ideas that should have been made into something, and then other people come in. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I've consumed a lot of content that was affected by that strike. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Heroes season 2, man. Oof.
Friday Night Lights season 2.
Mm-hmm. Rough time. All right, 3-star review says, Shrek the Third is still a really great addition to the franchise, but I find the humor and story to be a bit lacking compared to the second. The cast is still absolutely insane and one of the best parts of the movie. The humor hits at some points, but I never expected it to surpass the second one. Also, the little Shrek babies are so adorable.
They are so cute.
No, uglier than Shrek.
I just don't believe you, but...
It's like a dehydrated Shrek.
They're so plump. What are you talking about?
I just mean like if you took like full-size Shrek and you just like sucked everything out.
So cute.
Ugh. 5-star review says, I threatened to not read one, by the way.
And I said a movie friends first.
I said to Michelle, what if I just don't read a 5-star review for this? What if I just refuse?
You could do whatever you want. It's your show.
In the spirit of love and friendship, here we go. I'm not ashamed to admit I love this one almost as much as the first two. I love the idea of a medieval high school and bringing an Arthurian legend to the Shrek universe. I cried when Frog King Harold died. I laughed when Merlin pretended to be a buzzing bee, and I cried again when Arthur gets all the villains to redeem themselves. Maybe I'm blinded by nostalgia because I remember the McDonald's toys from this movie, but frankly, I think it's overly hated.
Wow.
Those McDonald's toys are doing a whole lot of work.
I mean, always, honestly, when I was a kid. You remember when they had the Beanie Babies? Wow.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. But I'm happy for this person that they love this so much.
I'm always happy when someone loves a movie.
Yeah.
So we rate a movie as a schmovie, a movie, or a film. We rate it 1 through 5 stars and give our final thoughts and recommendations. I guess, Michelle, you'll go first since you're still currently the winner from last year. And
Okay.
so I wrote down that you were going to rate this a 3-star movie.
Congratulations.
Yes.
You get a pickle. No, do I get a pickle? No, you get a pickle.
I get a pickle, yeah, because I guessed right. The first pickle of the year.
The first pickle of the year, Mazel.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, yes. This is a 3-star movie for me. It almost feels like I don't even want to give it 3 stars, but yeah. I'm trying to, when I rate things, I feel like when I just accept the movie, that it's 3 stars.
Sure.
In Michelle's logic.
Mm-hmm.
I don't love that. I'm trying to reframe my work. But if you're into Shrek, I'm going to recommend that you watch this.
Okay.
It's entertaining enough. It's creative enough. Just expect it to not be as good as the second and the first.
Got it. So you think that this is, out of the 3 that we've watched, your least favorite?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay. How would you rank them?
So it's funny, right? Like, I remember when we were talking about doing Shrek 2 live, and I was like, oh, I like Shrek 2 more than Shrek 1. But then I went back and I listened to that part of our episode, and I said, I think I like the first Shrek better than the second.
Yes. Yeah. It
Depending
would be
on
1,
when
2,
you
3.
catch me, I feel like my rating changes.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. So for you, I wrote down 1.5 movie.
Ooh. Very close. Very close. So I actually had this rated on Letterboxd.
Oh.
And when I watched it, I gave it 1 star. And I'm sticking to it.
Wow. Is it a movie for you or a schmovie?
This is a movie.
It's a movie, yeah.
Yeah, this is a movie. It just doesn't have the panache, the essence of a schmovie. You know, the character. There's no character here. So this is a 1-star movie. I think this is the lowest I've ever rated a movie on this show. According to our new pickle rating, by the way, Michelle's 3-star is a pickled string bean.
I'll take it. I love it.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
And 1 star is a pickled pig's feet for me.
Would you eat that though?
I would have a hard time.
You would have a hard time. Okay, good.
I would, and I'm sure there's people out there who love it.
Oh, of course.
You know? Yeah. But I hate this movie. I hate it. And I'll tell you what, when Shrek 3 ended, Shrek 2 started, and I watched the first 20 or so minutes with my son, and it made me hate Shrek 3 even more. Because I was just like, here you go. This is how you can do it. It's all there, and they're doing it right, and this is horrible.
Is the fourth one
I will
worse?
never watch this again. I will never willingly watch this. The fourth one is... You'll see.
Okay.
I mean, I'll just say it because we've already said we're not going to do it on the main show. It is worse.
I do not want to torture you, but I do want to finish this series.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do it. Patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. All right. Hey, so let's go over to our pickle tally.
It's great. I love it.
As the year progresses, right now we're standing at Michelle with 0 pickles to her name and me with 1. Very exciting.
It is exciting.
Okay. Does this movie pass the Seth Shell test? The Seth Shell test, this is as follows. This movie must contain something tangible that is impressive, whether choreography, production design, or a practical effect, and it must have a runtime that is justified by its content. Now, I'm going to give you a little switcheroo here. I actually don't think that this movie is too long.
I don't either.
I think the runtime is fine.
Yep.
The content just sucks. And then as far as something impressive, no.
Well, I think the runtime is good. And also the animation, because technology improved, I think looks pretty good. So
for you, it would be a yes.
Yeah,
for me,
but
it would be a no.
But it's still a no because we both have to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, if you're not still a no, we'd love it if you give us a rating and a review wherever you're listening. 5 stars, maybe. I don't know. That'd be cool. It helps the show. It's an easy way to say, hey, I'm listening and I'm thinking of you. You can also send us an email, moviefriendspodcast@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Shrek the Third. Let us know, am I taking this too seriously? Do I need to ease up? Am I a bitter, angry person? Did you think Michelle's take on Prince Charming was right on? Let us know. Send us an email. You can also support the show, patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. $5 a month gets you access to all of our additional shows, our Patreon-only Discord. You get to vote on upcoming movies and themes, and you get to be part of Michelle's inner circle, and you get to decode the message at the end of this and every main show episode. Isn't that exciting?
It's very exciting.
It is. It's kind of, now I'm like, oh my God, I'm thinking about this so much.
The decoder?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Michelle's inner circle.
Yeah, the decoder thing is like my new favorite part of the show.
It's my favorite thing too. I can't wait to decode after every episode.
Yeah. Speaking of every episode, next week up.
It's a big one.
It's a big one, and it's kind of like, thank God. Like I'm reaching out of a dark pit kind of a thing. Please, movies, be good. Please, third movie in a film series.
Please.
Yeah. Please be good.
You're Harold on the lily pad, gasping for air.
Yes, exactly. So this is also 3 years in the making. Very exciting.
Very exciting.
Cool. We're going to be talking about a movie that is so ignored, I feel like. So, yeah.
Isn't it underrated? It really is.
Yeah. Back to the Future Part 3 from 1990, directed by Robert Zemeckis, 119 minutes. And I don't think this is streaming anywhere currently.
Unfortunately not. You have to rent it on Prime or Apple, or maybe go to your library if you can grab the DVD. Or
definitely go to your library and grab it.
Yeah.
Or go to your big box store and steal it.
No, don't steal it. I own the trilogy, actually, but it's in the pod.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't have a DVD player. So
crazy.
Yeah, I know.
So obviously you've seen this before. I've seen this before. And like I said, I think that when we talk about movie series, Back to the Future 3 is kind of forgotten about.
Yeah, and those who love Back to the Future tend to really like, they get it and they love 3.
Yeah.
You know how much I love this series.
Yeah.
And I love Doc Brown so much. So
this is also kind of an interesting one because we haven't ever done a full-blown Western.
I know.
Mm-hmm. You know, Mask of Zorro, is it in there? There's some like neo-Western type movies. We could say Mad Max is kind of that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So this is like kind of the closest that we've come to doing a full-blown Western, which is exciting.
Sci-fi Western adventure. Mm-hmm. This is, I can't wait to revisit this.
It's going to be great. Well, hey, thanks, Michelle.
Thank you, Seth.
Hey, and thank you very much for listening. And remember, folks, if you suddenly find yourself named King, it's still awkward to pronounce your love for someone in front of your entire school. Till next time, have a good one.
Movie Friends is produced by Seth Vargas and Michelle Rubenstein. Theme music by Jean Marie Vargas. Visit us at our website, moviefriendspodcast.com, and please subscribe and rate our show wherever you are listening. You can support Movie Friends at patreon.com/moviefriendspodcast. Thanks for listening.
Incoming. Message incoming. Message to Michelle's inner circle. Remember, kids, only Michelle's inner circle can decipher this week's message. Get ready. Get ready. Get ready.
Message number 2. 65. 64. 72. 55. 79. 63. 33. 58. 75, 74, 56, 67, 66, 73, 72, 66, 86, 63, 43, 77.
Michelle is counting on you. Do not let her down.